So Perna, we were setting the stage for this. We were talking about the main part of the show, or at least the question that was formed here about the 30 out of 32 draft picks in the second round holding out. This is like I was explaining, like this is kind of something that has been there's like been pieces of information, but it hasn't been like widely publicized, which makes sense because I'm sure that you don't want this narrative running in the NFL that you're going to have 30 players that are holding out in the second round. And I'm curious as to like why you think this is happening. You have the first 2 picks in the second round who are getting fully guaranteed contracts. As I mentioned before, this is the first time ever that this has happened. And so now you're having the rest of the second round prospects who are saying, no, we want fully guaranteed money, or at least close to fully guaranteed money.
Sure.
Why do you think this is? Do you think this is NIL, the fact that they're actually making money, in college, as opposed to, hey, this is the first time that I'm actually getting money. Hey, I might even be pressured or incentivized to join the NFL sooner rather than later, right? And not finish out my collegiate career because I want to start actually making money because I haven't been making diddly squat this entire time. What are your thoughts on this?
No, I don't think it has much to do with NIL money, but I could be wrong. I think it's I think every pick through the first 3 rounds should be fully guaranteed. I think those are premium picks for NFL teams. I think they've gotten away with underpaying them for a little bit too long now. I think was it Houston that gave the first fully guaranteed?
Yes.
And then Cleveland. Here, let me pull up this page.
So
here.
Higgins was the second overall pick in the second round for the Texans, and they gave him a fully guaranteed contract, which is the first time ever. So Cleveland, having the first pick in the second round, were like, well, we kind of have to do this too. And they gave their linebacker a fully guaranteed contract. And those are the only 2 second rounders who are signed right now.
Yeah. So I think Judkins just kind of hindered his chances of possibly getting the fully guaranteed.
So that's a part of it too, right? Because if all the other folks are holding out, Judkins might, depending on, what's going to happen with that. And the league said that they are aware of it. He got arrested on misdemeanor for domestic violence. That depending on what his status is, if he's going to be playing, right, he might be more willing to say, yeah, I'll just take the contract. Because
I think
now
he'll be ready to sign whatever they present to him.
Which may, but I got to say, though, like having 30 out of 32, like that is a huge number.
Yeah. So I think Houston just high on Jaden Higgins. And they also, I think the Texans know Higgins has a really good chance to play quite a bit for them. They lost Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell's not going to play this year because of injury. So I feel like the Texans kind of just did right by Jaden Higgins assuming he might have a big role in the offense right away. What's interesting too is there's like some big name players here you want to have signed. Travion Henderson, if you're a Patriots fan, you want him getting every rep in training camp.
It's true, Dave.
You don't want to hold out there. Luther Burden, Tyler Shuck. I think this is interesting because we have the NFL collusion information that's been going around too. Okay. And so the NFLPA came out, they sent a memo to all the players saying they support the current executive director of player personnel, Lloyd Howell Jr., who there's talk that maybe they could get him removed. He came over from another company that had some sort of scandal or embezzlement, or I forget what the fuck it was. But the NFLPA said, no, we're keeping this guy. We don't think any collusion happened, which is, for me, the timing is funny, where you have the NFLPA and the NFL saying, we didn't do a collusion. There was no collusion. But then you have basically 30 teams all not willing to give their second round picks fully guaranteed contracts. And we're not talking about massive contracts for these guys, right? Like these aren't, because let's see here. Where's RJ Harvey? He's not signed yet either for the Broncos. And where's the tweet? Zach Seegers. Okay, so RJ Harvey's entire contract is set to be worth $7.35 million over 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So for like in the NFL, that's nothing. So to fully guarantee $7.35 million, that, and now given he's, at the end of the second round, but like that's nothing. So like, I don't know what the holdup is for a team to give those guarantees.
So just to compare to like the end of the round and the first round. So Jaden Higgins, the guy who got the fully guaranteed contract as the second pick in the second round, is getting $11 million.
Yeah.
So
nothing.
Like in terms of just like the NFL and some of these contracts that we're seeing, it's relatively low. I think for the NFL, the precedent's being set that if you start giving out the way that this has evolved, that you had in the first round, right? Originally, you only had a few guys within the first round that were actually getting fully guaranteed contracts. And that has gone on where there's a lot more players that are now getting fully guaranteed contracts, right? In the first round, they get the 5th-year options, the whole 9 yards. And thank you, Karakina, for the clarification. Yes, it's arbitration, not court. And there's some funky stuff that's going on with the arbitration as well, because yes, the union exec, he also consults with a private equity firm. And apparently the rumor is that, not rumor, excuse me, the thought was, at least that was in the article that I just read, was that he was raised by like a union family and like he's going to make sure that there's no conflict of interest, because the problem with that private equity firm is they're looking to buy a minority stake in NFL teams. So that's where there's kind of like, oh, that seems like a pretty big conflict of interest. But here for the NFL, when we're going on about this case, right, with the collusion issue, you already had owners being like, yeah, let's try to keep those guaranteed contracts down. And it's basically happening again right this second with the second round picks who are all sitting out. So yes, very interesting timing right now.
It's all based on Deshaun Watson's contract.
Yeah.
This whole collusion thing is because the Browns gave Deshaun $230 million guaranteed, and everybody else was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You guys gave that to Deshaun? How the fuck am I going to justify not giving Lamar Jackson fully guaranteed money?
Yeah.
You asshole Browns. So Watson got that deal, and then no other quarterback got a fully guaranteed contract. This whole case from Pablo Torre and Mike Florio was about them working together to make sure that the next quarterbacks didn't get fully guaranteed. And I think Justin Herbert was one of the quarterbacks in there mentioned. And it was like Spanos. Was it Herbert? Oh, it was Kyler Murray and Herbert, and how Bidwell and Spanos were talking to each other, basically saying, look, that's a nice contract. The guarantees aren't there. They can make it in the incentives. Like this is how we want to basically structure these deals, not the Deshaun Watson way. So that was part of it. And now you got all the second rounders holding out. And I hope they do. Like, dude, you can't guarantee $7.5 million for your running back, or like $11 million guaranteed for Jaden Higgins. That's nothing for a premium position too. Like,
yes. And again, like, but that's the thing is, right? I would assume that I don't agree with this, but like the thought process would be, all right, if we start guaranteeing, let's just say the first 10 picks in the second round are fully guaranteed contracts. Then next year, the 11th guy is going to be like, hey, where's my fully guaranteed contract?
No, that's why.
Yeah, no, that's 100% why. So Andrew, this was from ESPN. So the arbitrator ruled that there wasn't enough evidence of collusion, right? But that there was definitely conversations. And we pulled that up a few weeks ago in talking about, it was text between the owner of the Cardinals and the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. And they were talking about guaranteed contracts. And of course, the NFL owners meeting where they all meet and have conversations. But this story has now taken on, or has gotten more legs because last week that you heard the fact that, hey, maybe leadership in the NFLPA, there's not a whole lot of confidence with them. And let me just be very clear about the NFLPA. The NFLPA, their union dues are the same as the amount that Madden gives players for appearing in the Madden football games. So let's just say that the NFLPA is definitely not perfect. And you look at the last CBA and how much it hurts players that are holding out. Let's just say that there's room for improvement with the NFLPA.
No, they're cowards. They're weak. They have no power against the NFL.
There you go.
They've made nothing but concessions every collective bargaining agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this is people asking why. And it's hard because the only players who can afford to actually say boycott and sit out a season are players who've already made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And that is a smaller percentage of players across the NFL than, I think most people realize.